Alright, so you probably clicked on this live stream if you're tuning in live, that is, or video if you're seeing it after it went from a live to a video, because you're looking at possibly starting a pest control business or you're in the process of, your own pest control startup and, you might just have some questions. First and foremost, if this is your first time meeting me, welcome. My name is Griffin Thomas. I own a pest control company myself, Preferred Pest Management in the Dallas, Texas area. I've been in business about 4 years now. And on my channel overall, I just document my overall business journey for you guys. The good, the bad, the ugly, things that work, things that don't work, or haven't worked, that is, and just, different things that we're doing on a daily, weekly, monthly basis to just kind of help grow our business. Like I said, been in business about 4 years. We took it from 0 to 6 figures the first year, and we're looking at hopefully having our first $200,000 year this year if things go, as expected. And yeah, like I said, I'm here just to answer your all's questions. I know we always start getting people trickling in after the first like 3 to 5 minutes, usually once all the notifications start going out. But yeah, like I said, this one today is just kind of more so Q&A format specifically. If you have any questions about starting a pest control business, or like I said, you're already starting your own business and you're, just looking at ways to grow it, or just any questions, I guess, equipment wise or anything whatsoever, feel free to drop any questions. I'm also trying to get my YouTube comments pulled up as well, like I did yesterday. I believe we had a couple of questions since then. Yeah, we actually had a question come in from Larzarg. Sorry, I'm probably totally butchering that name. On our video about the GorillaDesk review, best scheduling software for service businesses. That video we posted probably about a year or two ago now. He asked in there, let me see, he said, thanks for taking the time to walk us through GorillaDesk. I have a pest control company and also use GorillaDesk. I want to ask what method works for you to schedule recurring bi-monthly or quarterly services for homes that get interior treatments. I'm trying to make each day productive, and sometimes if I'm in a certain area, some clients for that area won't be home, so that throws off the schedule to have to go back there another day of the week. We find ourselves catching each client due that month. Wait, what did he say? Oh, we find ourselves contacting each client due that month to schedule, and it's quite a process. Just wanted to see how you smoothly schedule your residential clients that are bi-monthly or quarterly. Yeah, so the biggest issue you're going to have is, like you said, the ones that do inside service every time. We do not do inside service every time. Now, we do, like we always tell the customers, we reach out ahead of time just to see if there's been any issues since we were last out. That way, if there are any that we need to address, then we'll get that addressed. But it's primarily outside for us. So that's going to be a big hurdle regardless of what systems you put in place, just because, like you said, now that people are kind of going back to work, not everybody's working from home. Still a lot of people working from home, but there's a lot of people that are no longer working from home either. And, your only options really is figure out what days they have off. Try to schedule it around then, or like you said, you're just gonna have to go back another day. Sometimes what we'll do is we'll just tell them, that hey, this is the main day that we're going to be in your area this week. Can we at least, go ahead and get the perimeter taken care of? And then, ideally, there'll be another day within the next business week and a half, that you'll be out there again. And if so, see if, that day will work for them. Or, what we'll do a lot of times too is just kind of, if that's the case, reschedule it altogether. And we'll even move a whole business day around because of that. So, whenever you design, it sounds like you may have designed your business specifically around doing a lot of interior treatments. That is why we don't usually suggest that. Like we said, we always warranty the inside, but, if you're doing the inside every single time, you got to take the good with the bad, and that's where also you probably want to do price increases as well, especially because, that's kind of what I would definitely consider a more so, premium offering, I would guess, because like I tell customers, if you think you need the inside every single time, we're gonna have to charge for that, because like you said, there's special scheduling that has to happen. We're taking more time, more chemical, all this stuff. So I would definitely, maybe adjust the pricing and some things of that nature. But there's really, unfortunately, no way to kind of optimize your schedule around the possibility of a client, needing to reschedule outside of, like I mentioned about 30 seconds ago, where, if you see a day in the next week that you're going to be in that same area, see if that day works. And then if not, if there's a different day, then maybe move that day that's in the future around to whatever day is going to work best for them, if that makes sense. I do that a lot of times. My schedule, I'll have my schedule set for the whole month, but that schedule is not set in stone until literally like 5 to 8 p.m. the night before when we send out our pre-text notifications. So because of the fact that we want that wiggle room for reschedules and things of that nature. So hopefully that kind of helps answer that question. Let me see here. Shout you guys out. Sesvo in the chat. How's it going? Love that I'm planning a year or so ahead because I've changed the name. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, my brother went through the process of figuring out his name for months. It seemed. I think he finally got it figured out too. Good luck on the 200K. Yeah, no, like I said, I mean, if we don't do any additional sales this year, we'll already be like at 150 and change. So, like I said, the 200, in all honesty, I'm aiming for 225, but 200 is kind of the floor. Let's see, you said also I'm aiming first year 150K just to aim high. I know you mentioned setting a low goal and surpassing it, then feeling stuck, so I don't want. Yeah, no, I always say, like I said, my main goal for this year is 225. 200 is kind of like the floor, like whenever I mention to you guys, like on YouTube or, even just people I talk to on a day to day, I'm like, yeah, no, I mean, we're probably going to hit 200 this year. Who knows? Could end up at like 207, 210, whatever the case may be. But, 225 is the goal for this year. And like you said, it's a goal at the end of the day. Like, to me, whenever it comes to setting goals for your business, some people overthink this shit. Like, you'll hear these gurus or whatever you want to call them online that will say, oh, you need to set your goals super achievable. That way you can get a win and another win and another win. And then there's some that are the extreme opposite where they're like, set the goals so high that, you don't have a choice but to just, be stressed out, put your back against the wall. Oh man, hey, I appreciate that, Cesfo. You didn't even have to do that. I appreciate that. $1.99. I appreciate that. Um, yeah, if you have a question too, definitely shout it out. I'll get to it ASAP too because yeah, no, I appreciate that. But yeah, with the whole goal setting, like I said, there's always like everything on the internet, right? People take it to one extreme or the other, and like me, I always kind of sniff through the BS and kind of figure out just what works for me. There's some good things from each side that I take. Like from that side of being super conservative with goal setting, what I take away from that is I like setting weekly goals, daily goals, monthly goals, things of that nature that are what you call quick wins, things that happen very quickly and you hit it and then boom, like you keep that positive momentum going. Or if you're needing to build up some new momentum, you can gain that momentum quick. So I do like small goals from that standpoint. You should have goals that you set daily, weekly, monthly, in my opinion. And then I also like those really large, hefty goals that are a year out, 5 years out, 10 years out, 50 years out, lifetime goals, right? That way you just have like a long-term purpose of whenever you want to kind of fuck off in the moment, excuse my language, but when you kind of want to just screw off in the moment, you remember, is this going to contribute to this? Is this going to contribute to that goal? So it kind of helps you stay level-headed, if that makes sense. How's it going, brother Daniel? And Sesvo also said, I'm doing a little exclusion job for my landlord to prevent some issues he's having on our roof. So that's cool. Yeah, no, and that'll be a good learning experience for you too. And I'm assuming, being an exclusion job, it might even pay the rent for the month. And brother Daniel said, how do I get customers without having money to pay for ads? Oh man, there's so many ways. We actually go over this in almost every stream, it seems. So, you know, in terms of doing anything that's not going to take money, obviously, what's it going to take? Sweat equity, time, work. Knocking on doors, for example, is the most basic one. Knocking on doors, shaking hands. The whole shaking hands thing is very underrated, by the way. Like, one exercise that I like to do a lot of times when, like, for some reason, I mean, it doesn't really happen anymore. The phone's always ringing for us now because of all the efforts we put in with SEO and everything. But you know, early on, one exercise that I actually stole from Andy Frisella. If you haven't heard of the Real AF podcast, definitely go check it out. He has some awesome business content on his podcast too. But this idea that I took from him years ago when I was first starting my business was, and it also helps with communication development. If you're someone that's kind of introverted, this is a great exercise to do as a business owner. Is go to any random store. Doesn't matter if it's a grocery store, hardware store. I usually did a hardware store because it was a easy cop out, kind of easy route. But anywhere in public, and do not leave there until you have three what he would call meaningful conversations with people. Not, you know, oh, hey, you know, what you think of the weather today? Like, none of that little small talk BS. Like, literally going, shaking their hand, getting their name, you know, having a solid, like, 5 minute or so, 3 to 5 minute conversation about, you know, anything. But at the end of the day, you know, you're trying to potentially figure out if you can build some type of relationship, not in terms of like, you know, oh, here's my card, let me know if you need, like, you're not trying to sell them per se, but it can end up being a sell. It can end up being a networking opportunity where, you know, you find out, especially that's what I liked about going to hardware stores, you run into a lot of contractors and things of that nature. And next thing you know, you're switching, you know, you're giving each other business cards and things of that nature. And you just never know who you're going to meet. So, I mean, that's one way, first and foremost, but also, of course, knocking on doors. Let's see, you said with no money, so I'm trying to think of like straight up no money avenues. Obviously, opening up your Google business profile. That's totally free to do. Usually takes a little bit to get verified, but once you get verified, obviously go through all of our videos that we have on optimizing your Google business profile. That way you will expand your reach exponentially. That does take more longer. It takes usually a couple months to start really getting consistent calls and website hits from that, which kind of leads me to my next point. Optimizing your website to be more of what we call like a lead generation website. Oh yeah, and then of course like going into groups on Nextdoor, Facebook, things of that nature, and you know searching pest control related topics, and you know just letting people know who you are and that you're, you know, you got your own business, and if they need anything to hit you up. And yeah, I think that kind of covers kind of the main ones, at least ones that I used. Let me see. He supplied the supplies, so honestly, I wasn't even going to charge him, but he said he'd like to give me something. I would have charged $8.50. Yeah, I mean, either way, at least you're getting a little something off of it. How's it going there, Stefan? Good evening. Let's see. That is one thing I need to figure out is how much to charge per hour. Yeah, it's not even so much for me like charging per hour as much as, you know, how much profit do we need to make, net profit, off of each service. Like for an exclusion, for example, we don't just factor in profit after materials and time, but we also factor in that we usually warranty that work as well. So we want to factor in the possibility of one or two callbacks. Most of the time you don't have any, but, you know, occasionally there is, right? So, you know, you have to add in kind of all this stuff, taxes, you know, there's a lot that has to be added into that. That's why, like, a lot of people think when it comes to exclusion work and termite work, things of that nature, that, you know, usually charge $1,000 to $5,000 for, when you only have maybe a couple $100 of product in. It's like, dude, there's so much more than just like, you know, the product and your time that you're putting in on that first service. There's the warranty, the risk that you're taking on with the warranty, taxes, you know, wear and tear on your equipment, vehicle, employee call, you know, the list goes on and on, right? Let's see. I'm a tag, but also do estimates on non-price. Exclusions are a bit out. Yeah, an exclusion, you'll kind of get it with time. You know, you'll probably underprice a bunch early on, and then you'll overcorrect and overprice, and you'll know when you overprice because your closing rate will drop exponentially, right? But you'll end up finding this happy medium where you're charging enough, just like you said with the general pest control and all that stuff. It's just a little tiny learning curve. Within 3 to 5 jobs, you'll have it pretty solid. Is car insurance for business insurance? Is car? Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, car and commercial. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Stefan. It's absolutely. Especially in this field where we're traveling virtually most of the day. I mean, like I was telling my wife the other day, I had a super just drive heavy day. What was it, Thursday or Friday? I literally drove like 110 miles, and I was probably only outside of my truck for maybe 2 or 3 hours max of the whole day. And I was just like, dude, like this is why we have commercial insurance, because like you just do the math. Eventually, you're gonna have something happen, and specifically in our line of business, you have to have commercial. If you get in an accident in your vehicle and they find out it's for business, they will not only not cover it, but they will drop you and never insure you again, even for your future personal vehicles. So, yeah, it's not something to mess around with. Sure, it costs, I just paid mine last month, and it was, what, about a $500 difference in terms of like 6 month premium. So you're talking almost $100 a month more. But, again, you can't put a price tag on peace of mind and, all that. And then obviously, business insurance, I think you meant commercial, which is why you said car insurance for commercial. So, yeah, obviously, business insurance of itself is actually like a legal requirement for pest control businesses. But let's see, Brother Daniel, my car insurance company told me I only needed. Whew, yeah, I would tell them I want that in writing from them specifically, because yeah, like I remember, for example, when I filled mine out with Geico originally a couple years ago, I was like, I selected the option where it was like I use it for personal and business. So I was like, oh, cool. So, it's covered, right? Well, then I read a thread in one of these pest control groups. I forget which one off the top of my head, either like pest control professionals or bug bucks, one of those two. And which, by the way, if you're not in our pest control group, we have over 120 members. If you want to check that out, it's free to join. Same with our Discord and all that. Link is in my LinkTree down below. But, I saw a thread that really intrigued me. They were like, yeah, no, just found out that our personal insurance doesn't cover that and this and that. And I was like, ooh, let me hit up my rep. And I reached out and they were like, yeah, no, it is not commercial auto insurance. I was like, so why does it make me ask like if we're using it for business or not? And they were like, oh, that's just so we know. I was like, so what? Like we're pretty much just telling on ourselves? And she was like, if that's how you want to look at it. I was like, so yes, that was what she was saying, is yes, you're pretty much just telling on yourself by doing that. So I was like, okay, I need to go ahead and terminate this immediately. And we ended up signing up with Progressive Commercial Auto Insurance. And yeah, I mean, it's, like I said, it's one of those things. Sure, it costs a little bit, but it's the price of doing business at the end of the day. The warranty is a good thing to add. Thank you for that. Yeah, yeah, no, like I said, I mean, there's so many things out here that, we just don't think about until we have one of those epiphanies where we're like, oh shit, I didn't think about the warranty. The fact that I could do 2 free trips out there over, a 1 year period or whatever the case may be, right? So, probably only personal if you don't have employees running around. Yeah, I mean, you could get. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. My first 2 to 3 years, I was doing just a personal policy. It's just a matter of do you get in a wreck while you're, running a route or not. Or, you could roll around like my grandfather who doesn't have his truck labeled at all. Um, because that's the other thing. If the person you got in an accident with reports that, hey, this was a business vehicle, they were in their uniform and everything, they rat you out, right? So, I mean, there's just too much risk, guys. Like, it's not something worth playing around with at the end of the day. How's it going there? Bug out, Termite and Pest, paying $270 a month for commercial auto. Yeah, that sounds about right. Are you with Progressive as well? That's who we use, and I forget what ours came out to. I wonder if I can get it pulled up. Probably can't because I don't use my tablet a lot. I'm probably not. Yeah, I'm not even signed in on it or anything. I don't even remember what. Oh yeah, I was looking at questions on here. I don't even remember what I had pulled up on here. But yeah, hopefully you guys are enjoying the stream. If you are, do me a favor, smash that thumbs up button, and if you're not already subscribed, of course, you know the drill. Hit that subscribe button, hit the bell icon, all that good stuff. That way you won't miss any of the future live streams or videos that we publish. I actually do plan on having a video out for you guys, hopefully this week, about this idea of, I forget what I even called it, um, like procrastinating profit proposal or something like that. Just an interesting video for you guys that might change your mindset on introductory pricing and things of that nature. Something I've been kind of toying around with and testing out in my business as well. And I'm actually using the tablet for that video. We pull up like a whiteboard and break down a bunch of math and things of that nature. Farm Bureau. Oh, okay. Let's see. I gotta run for like 15 minutes. You can be. It depends. In all honesty, it depends how active the chat is. But sometimes we only go for about half an hour. Other times we go for 1 to 2 hours. I know tonight at the longest we'll only be on probably for about an hour. But there's a decent chance that we'll still be here when you get back, Sesfo. Let's see. Ridicule. How's it going there? How would you recommend pricing an apartment complex for general pest control? This one specifically has 7 buildings. Well, the easiest way to do it is you give them a price per unit is usually what they want, and then you can give them pricing for the year versus pricing per month, where they just pay you once per month. Usually for apartment complexes, they want you to go out there every week, and usually what they'll do is they will give you a list of like call-ins or issues, like a little, almost like a callback list essentially. And if there's none, then you just kind of do your usual maintenance. But usually they don't want to mess around with like bi-monthly, quarterly, anything like that. They are usually going to want someone to swing by every week, maybe every 2 weeks, depending on, like you said, how many units it has. But it kind of varies a little bit based on more so the size of the complex. Anything over like 50 units, usually you're going to need to be having to go out there like every 1 to 2 weeks. But, another thing to consider too is you're probably going up against the Terminexes, the Orkins, all of that stuff. So, all of that can vary into your pricing as well, because I know they only charge like about $2 per door per month. Again, it depends on the size though too. Like smaller complexes usually get charged more per door, where the larger ones with like 100, 200, 300 units get charged a lot less per door. So again, a couple things to consider with that. Let's see. Is that Staffa? Good evening. How should I max out my current base or rush to Town Hall 10 and max it out? Should I max out my current base or rush to Town Hall 10 and max it out? Are you meaning like before you hire somebody? I don't know if I exactly understand the question. Stefan says, what is your price range for mice treatments and how long are your guarantees? With like, if they're calling just for mice, like mice or rats, there's not even necessarily a guarantee. Like what we'll do is either an exclusion service, which that there is like a warranty on the work, but usually if it's not an exclusion service where we're just setting up like traps and stations, things of that nature, usually we'll set it up on depending on the activity. If it's pretty bad, what we'll do is we'll set up a follow up after 1 week or less. If the customer like calls us out earlier, then we can always come out earlier. But usually 1 week is the rule of thumb for the first follow up, and then depending on the activity level, based on how much bait is gone, have we caught anything in the traps, things of that nature, we'll start to kind of spread the service out from there until either the issue's just solved all around and they can cancel at that point if they wish. A lot of times at that point, they will go ahead and convert over to some type of pest and rodent control program. Because that is where we start to, again, add the value in of like, hey, we got rid of the issue. Do you want the issue to come back? No, obviously. Okay, well, what we would suggest you do is let's go ahead and get you set up on a pest and rodent control plan. You'll be covered for the full year. If anything fires back up, we'll come back unlimited. You don't have to worry about paying for these follow-ups or anything like that because they shouldn't get out of control ever again because we have everything in place now, right? And then you give them the price usually for the year because at that point they've usually already paid you $300 to $600. And then when you tell them that hey, we can go ahead and set you up on pest and rodent control, we'll be out 4 times a year, it's going to be $600 for the full year. They're like, oh man, $600 for the full year versus $600 over the last month and a half, like or 2-3 months in some cases. It's like, yeah, no, I mean, I'll definitely do that all day to make sure it doesn't happen again. So, I mean, like I said too, it varies, like everything, right? It varies in terms of the situation, but that's usually kind of a little bit of a framework of how we like to go about it. I never like to do what we did at Terminex back when I worked there, which is like, if they didn't go with an exclusion service, we would just set them up on quarterly pest control, and we would treat the rodents as like just ants essentially, where if there's still an issue, call us back. Like, no, you need to stay on top of that shit and get it taken care of. And that's why we do it the way that we do it. Usually on an average home, it'll be something like 175 to 250 to set everything up, and then sometimes even 150, if it's a smaller home, not as much required in terms of equipment and time and stuff. But 150 to 250 essentially, and then usually $95 plus tax per follow up. But again, even the pricing, that's going to vary based on your area. So like I said, hopefully that kind of helps. It can be, of course, kind of tricky with rodents, but that is what we have found not only gives us the best success in terms of solving the problem, but also, it's good for all sides. We're getting rid of their problem. We're making good money on it. Like, we're not sacrificing quality. We're not sacrificing profit. Like, it's a win-win-win all around. Thanks, that helps. Yeah, no problem. Should I? I don't even know what you're talking about, to be honest. Let's see. Musicum 22. What are your thoughts on a minimum cost for any job? Example, customer calls to remove a debt. Yeah, that's funny you bring that up because I still remember to this day, about 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago now, I had a prospect call us about a dead rat in the alleyway, like in Dallas, the Dallas, Texas area. A lot of neighborhoods will have the alleyway system where you're parking in the back, essentially the garage is in the back of the house and all that. And a woman was like, I went to take my trash out and I noticed there's a dead rat, like, would you all be able to come get it? How much would it cost? And it was very, like, obviously minimum work, right? But the main thing is of course, the time and all of that. And what we ended up doing for her was we said that it was just going to be 125. Looking back on it, probably could have done it for like 75. She didn't even have us end up doing it. The husband was like, "Why would you call anybody for that? I can literally get it when I get home." Because of course she called the husband up to let her know that she's gonna have us come out and take care of it, and he was like, "No, why would I pay 125 when I can literally pick it up when I get home? Just leave it there." And I don't blame him. I would do the same thing, 100%. But just to feed into your scenario about, like, they call for like a dead rat in the toilet, something that's going to take, drive time and then maybe 5 to 10 minutes of chit chatting with the customer and pulling the damn rat out of the toilet, that depending on drive time and everything, I would say $75 to $125 essentially. But again, like I say, when it comes to pricing, it's going to vary based on your area. If you're in an area like the Northeast or West Coast where everything is like 3x expensive than everywhere else, then, adjust the price accordingly. Let's see. I think my biggest holdup is correctly pricing jobs. Let me bring you guys back in here a little bit. I think my biggest holdup is correctly pricing jobs. The reason I ask about apartments is I have a request. And I want to make sure I don't short myself or overcharge. In all honesty, dude, you're probably going to be more likely to overcharge in their eyes than you are going to be to undercharged, because like I said, I know for a fact, because my wife used to work as like a property manager or whatever at a apartment complex years ago, like before I started my business. I remember to this day Terminex was charging only like $1.25 per door per month, and they were going out there every week. They would send two technicians out there every week, and they were only charging $1.25. Now, it was like a 400 and something unit complex, but again, like, you factor in that there's probably, we'll just call it 12 callbacks, quote unquote, because like I said, they're usually going to give you a list of like roaches in this apartment, ants in this one. You factor in, let's just say there's on a 400 unit complex, 10 to 12, which I would say is pretty standard. Each time you go out there, you're going to be spending a little bit of time each time you go out there. And again, that's every week. So, I mean, $1.25, 400 units, that's what, was that about $500 a month, something like that? And, so you're talking just over $100 a week, sending two guys out there to do 10 or 12 units. Like, you can see why those big companies, they go in and splash and dash on those units and don't take their time to solve the issue. I'm basically same price and procedure as you for rodent penny. Yeah. What's the top three rodenticides you use in the USA? I mostly use a combination of contract all weather block. We also use, what is it called? Generation mini block is another one that I use. And then, trying to think. Those are honestly the two main ones I use. I've never used anything but those two. I'm trying to think of one that I've heard other people use. I think another one that people use maybe is called like Final Block, something like that. Slightly higher risk of secondhand poisoning with that one though. So I'd mostly stick with contract or generation. But I've even heard also that some of the cheaper ones, like was it JT Eaton or whatever, they have some that work pretty good too. Thanks for that. I'm in New York, so yeah, right, exactly. Wow, yeah. I've never had a client say, "Wow, that's a great price," no matter what I charge, whether I charge 125 or 1,000. People always have said it's expensive. I'm not in the right business. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is like, unless the people have done like extensive research, they've dealt with another company before, whatever the case may be. They're always, I mean, just like, I mean, I was just pricing tires for my wife's minivan or whatever. She has like a Chrysler Voyager, Pacifica, whatever, the same damn van essentially, but just for 2 tires with 75,000 mile warranties with the installation costs and everything was going to come out to what was like 455, and that's for like one of the more, I mean, the place is literally called Discount Tire. Like it's usually one of the not cheapest, but one of the most affordable places to go. And I mean, even me in that moment, I was like, damn. I was like, that's a lot. Now, could I have gotten cheaper ones and probably saved like $100 or so? Yes, but you know, I don't like to sacrifice quality over price. So you know, every consumer, you know, everyone has that kind of sticker shock mindset. Like you said, it doesn't really matter about the price. I have found at the end of the day, you know, like you said, people that are going to object, and people that see the value of your service, they see the value of your service and they'll go with you. Not to say that there isn't value, giving you guys a little preview, sneak peek of our upcoming video, as a matter of fact, but, um, you know, it's not to say there isn't value in giving like a introductory offer or something of that nature, or, you know, a lead magnet, as a lot of people refer to them as. There is value in that, but, you know, it can't be overstated that, you know, people that are going to see value in your service, they're going to see value in your service, and people that don't. They're going to go for the cheap. I mean, a prime example, I had an Indian fella called me up, what was it, Friday morning, actually. Called me up Friday morning, and, you know, he was needing pest and rodent control. Wasn't really dealing with any issues. It's just what he used to have, and he wants to get it again. Here's the thing. He had service with a company 4 or 5 years ago, he said. And I told him the price. Gave him a pretty good rate, too, because it was like a 1,500 square foot home. I said the initial service was only going to be like 175, and then $45 a month going forward. You know, 135 per quarter, essentially. Not bad at all. At all. And he was like, "Oh, I remember when I had service a few years ago, I was paying like 75, $85." And I was like, "Well, one, that was even too cheap way back then." I was like, "And two, like I'm sure you know, everything's gone up over the last 4 or 5 years." So, you know, people that are looking for the cheapest company, there's nothing that you're going to be able to do to get those people. Like we said, they just do not see the value in the service. They're the people that will go with the cheapest company and then try to claim that the whole industry is a scam because they went with a cheap company, right? Um, you know, it is what it is. Splash and dash. Never heard that before. Yeah, that's a term I actually picked up in my time at Terminex. We had a couple technicians we would say do that type of stuff. Benji, how's it going? Good evening. Bug Out said, "Do you drop your linear foot price for termite? Let's see. When there is a sub area that needs to be." Oh, hold on, guys. My wife just texted me. We back. Speaking of which, I'm gonna have to relocate us because the dogs are gonna start freaking out when she comes in. Reading some of y'all's comments here. Give me a second. That's nice. Take y'all on a little ride. Alright, where are we at? Where were we? Do you drop, so what were we talking about? Termite pricing? Do you drop your linear foot price for termite when there's a sub area that needs to be treated also? I honestly don't know where bigger companies are at on price per linear foot. Sub area. Are you talking about in terms of like a spot treatment? Like you're not doing like all the way around the entire foundation? Yeah, my dogs. Trying to figure out how to answer that. Let me see. Did you follow up on that? I did have a lady say she paid Terminex $3,000 on a slab home. They did no drilling or trenching, just surface spray. That doesn't even make sense. Just a surface, but like, I'm trying to figure out. That doesn't even make sense, really. Just a surface spray. All I know is I'll give you like some free game in terms of like our pricing. How we do our pricing is, we will measure around the entire foundation, and then depending on how much drilling is involved, we usually charge between as cheap as $6.50 per linear foot, all the way up to as much as $9 per linear foot. Again, it just kind of depends on how much drilling is involved. And then, as a matter of fact, if they're wanting to go, if possible, not every time do we offer spot treatment, but if we do offer spot treatment, that price is considerably higher as well, usually upwards of like $10 to $15 per linear foot, because we want to steer them away from doing a spot treatment. But hey, if they're willing to pay that increased premium, then so be it at the end of the day. Let's see, what else do we got? Terminex seems lazy. I have a lot of people that switch over and are like, wow, you guys do so. Yeah, exactly. And I will say, in Terminex's defense, like any big company, it depends on your technician, how they were trained, what their work ethic is like. Like, there's a lot that goes into it. But for the most part, you are spot on. I've heard the same thing from a few friends. Yeah. 75. Yeah, $75. Yeah. I'm telling you, dude. I mean, I compare it to, I don't know if any of you guys are in any of these like lawn care groups, but they all joke around about the $25 guy. And, in pest control, I call it the $50 guy, the $75 guy. Like, there are people out here who they start their own business with their whole purpose is just owning their own job. Like, they don't want to grow a business. They don't want to have, employees and things of that nature. And they are fine with doing 10 stops a day at $75 to $100 a piece. And, making their $750 to $1,000 a day, working 6 to 10 hours a day. And, think about it, guys. Like, I got my calculator pulled up right here. Let me see what that comes out to. I mean, you're talking, we'll just call it $800 a day on the low end. Say you work roughly 22 days a month, and you do that over 12 months. I mean, that's $211,000 a year. So, even if you're working, say, 10 hours a day, if that's your goal in life, then I can see why you do that. But, it does kind of bring the industry down because, then we have customers like that one that I mentioned who just, assume that's normal. And it's like, no, for any, what I like to call legit company who's actually a legit company, not just a one-man show that plans on being a one-man show forever, and oftentimes they're not even legal, they don't have licensing, they don't have insurance, this and that and the other. Like we said, it's not sustainable, right? I never give prices over the phone. I offer completely no charge estimates, and if they ask a ballpark price, which they usually do, I say a few $100. Yeah. My technician will come see the situation. Yeah, no, that's not a bad idea either. I will say, in terms of general pest control, if I can tell, like, they're kind of straight shooters, they only want standard general pest control, I go ahead and give a price over the phone just because I don't want to worry about, like, wasting time and, wear and tear on vehicles, gas, this and that and the other, technician salary, whatever the case may be. Like, if we can price it over the phone, we'll go ahead and do it. But like you said, things like obviously termite work, rodent work, commercial work, things of that nature, 75% of things, right? We need to price that in person for sure. People need to realize they are paying for service, chemicals. Exactly. It's not just about the time. 100%. Orkin sprays hot dog water. I've heard it all. 95% of the time the job gets sold and I end up charging high. Yeah, and that's the other thing. That is why I like also pricing in person, is because a lot of times once you just simply get your foot in the door, you pretty much have the sell, because it's like you're already there, they're already there. They just want the service taken care of. Where if you just price over the phone, you're giving them the opportunity to object and be like, let me call someone else and try to like get another price. Where a lot of times that next person they call is gonna be like, well, here, let's set up a free inspection and we'll come take a look for you, da 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 da, and then they get the sell, right? So there is each side. There's positives and negatives for sure for each one. I just saw Orkin at an apartment near me. I just saw Orkin at an apartment near me. I just about cried. I felt so bad for the tenants. I work for a company that got bought by Rent-A-Kill, Termite, horrible experience, lots of responsibilities. The pay was not there. 24 an hour technicians, but the technicians were everything. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I heard they're talking about changing Terminex over to hourly pay too. They haven't down here yet. As a lot of you guys know, I still keep in contact with a lot of my old coworkers from there on a weekly basis, and they're still getting production pay as of now. But yeah, they did get the memo that apparently they are looking at changing that pay again. No full barrier. Oh, talking about the termite treatment? Yeah, like I said, that's where we'll increase the price. Like if we're not doing a quote unquote full, which is actually still technically classified as a partial treatment, if we're just doing kind of like spot treatment, like I said, we increase the price based on all sorts of variables. Like I said, is there drilling? Is there no drilling? It just depends. Are we going to need to foam some areas? Like I said, there's a lot that goes into it, but usually if we're not doing a quote unquote full treatment, then it's usually $10 on up from there in terms of price per linear foot. No lie, I would probably never do termites. I did some of that work. It was so grueling. Yeah, I mean, down here, luckily, most of the homes that I deal with are just traditional slab foundations. We don't have basements. We don't really have crawl spaces. I refuse to do crawl spaces. I did one, and I was like, never again will we do crawl spaces for those treatments. But yeah, I mean, it's not too bad, especially when you're using Termidor HE. I mean, you only have to use half the amount of liquid that you do with SC. So, and the money. I mean, the money's so good on it too. I'm glad termites aren't really common around here. I know it can be good money. I just don't have the time to get the extra licensing. Yeah. Yeah, down here, they're crazy. Just sold one on Thursday, as a matter of fact. Full barrier treatment, they scammed her, I think, really bad. I only do spot treats for escrow people. Okay. Yeah, in that case, I'd definitely be $10 to $15 a linear foot. Let's see. How do you price exclusions? Man, that's such a loaded question. So, I have heard of people doing it per linear foot, like you said. I don't. I always did it based on things like how many roof returns are there, or we need to use any one-way exit doors, live traps, are we needing any roof, like attic vent covers, are there any gable vents involved, is it a pier and beam foundation where there's going to be a lot of groundwork involved, how's the freezer boards, how's the fascia boards, how's the soft, like I said, there's so many moving parts into that. And usually what we'll do is we just have like a checklist, and we'll just go through, like I said, just kind of one by one. How many roof returns are there? How many attic vents are there? Gable vents, groundwork, like just kind of right on down the list essentially. And then we just add all that up, and then there we go. And yeah, hopefully you guys are enjoying the stream so far. We're probably going to be wrapping up here in the next 10 minutes or so. But if you are, do me a favor, smash that thumbs up button. If you're not already subscribed, of course, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell icon, all that good stuff. And hopefully that kind of answers the question about the exclusion work. I know where you were going with the lawn care. I've been in it for 8 years and hear about it from one of my friends I'm helping with fertilizing. Yeah, yep, my cousin actually owns a lawn care. Well, he's like pest and lawn in the Midwest, and he's always talking about, like, he's showing me like flyers from guys that are doing it for like 35, 30, 25 a lawn, and he's just like, I can't compete with that. Osama, yo, what's up? Stefan says one of my commercial clients had Orkin for a few months. He had major German roaches. All Orkin did was change sticky. And that's exactly what I was just referring to a little bit ago. They don't have the time because of how little they're charging. They literally have to go in there, splash and dash, change out a couple glue boards, keep it moving, essentially. First year base pay, I'm gonna be about 50,000. Yeah, that's not bad at all. Orkin's trash. Same here. My first year, I had a lot switch from Orkin. Rita says, I really appreciate these live streams, by the way. You are the only person who does this that I could find any information. That I could find, and the information you provide is amazing. No, I appreciate that, because man, I ain't gonna lie to y'all, like sometimes I'm like, man, does like, I mean, I see the comments on the videos and stuff, like where you guys are like, man, you dropped some gems in this one, or like, man, I appreciate this. It's like I see the comments, as most of y'all know, I try to respond to most of them when I have time to, but there are times where I'm just like, dude, like, man, like I ain't gonna lie, YouTube don't pay shit. Like that $1.99 Cesvo donated, that's gonna pay more than YouTube's gonna pay for this whole stream. The whole stream today, it'll probably make like 50 cents that from the stream itself. Now, of course, as more people watch it and things like that, there'll be pennies here, pennies there, but like there's no money in YouTube, man. I mean, sure, you all could obviously, buy the little Google Ads course or whatever, which by the way, I did just discount on there. 50% because I want to make it accessible to everybody. But, there's no money in YouTube or anything. So, like, a lot of times I look at it from the standpoint of, like, man, I'm putting all this time over here in YouTube, which is more so, like I said, for me to document my journey. I made a deal with God one day that, like, dude, if you, like, put me in the position to just, be successful, I'll put all that information online, give it away, to the best of my ability. Oh man, so that's what with another $4.99. Man, bro, you ain't have to do that. You ain't have to do that. Besides, YouTube's gonna take like almost, I don't know how much they take actually, because I don't really get a lot of donations, but I know they take a good little chunk of it. But no, I appreciate it. But yeah, the whole point on that is, like I said, when I put in, let's just say, I probably put in about 10 to 20 hours a week on YouTube, I would say. And you think about it in terms of, hey, if I put this into the business, and that's why you guys will see, I'm sure those of you that have been following the channel for a while, you've seen it. Like, we'll go through periods where we do live, and then video, short. Like, we're posting a lot of content, and then, I go through a stretch of 2 to 4 weeks where I don't really post a lot. It's just because, like, there's seasons where, like, when I'm super busy, it's, pedal to the metal and just gotta get things done. And, that's just kind of how it goes. And then, YouTube will give me all these little BS, little tips is what they call them. It'll be like, oh, if you edit your content like this and do that, like I said, I only got so much time to put into it at the end of the day. So I try, and, like you all said, if there's value in it, that's cool. And as long as there's value there, I'll keep on posting for y'all. It's the only guy I found on YouTube, and it's great information. Helped me a lot with planning. Can't wait to share my progress. Yeah, no, and that's the other thing I keep telling y'all too. Like, definitely be checking in and letting us know. There's one guy I always bring up on here. What's his name on here? His little Google name is like My World or something like that. He'll hop in from time to time and give us updates. He was watching the channel 2 or 3 years ago and was, just absorbing all the information, asking questions, and now he's so busy, he's hardly in here, but he'll give us updates, and it's just cool to see you guys go out and do the damn thing, like apply what we talk about here. I'm still waiting on my verification for Google Business. Yeah, that's a whole. Are you? How are they having you verify, Benji? Is it with the postcard, or did you have to do the video, or is there another way that they made you verify? Also, sometimes I forget to comment or am just too busy to comment. I do watch every video though. Man, that's awesome. Yeah, and that's honestly like in terms of quote unquote support, like that's the best thing that y'all can do is just like, watch the video, watch the videos, watch them all the way through. Apparently, that's like a key metric that Google or not Google, YouTube keeps up with. Like they'll tell us like the average view percentage that people watch it, and apparently the videos that have like the most, average view duration is what they call it. Those videos tend to like get quote unquote pushed out the most to people that are most likely to watch it. There's a whole thing that goes on with it, but yeah, that's the main way you guys can help. I love these streams. Been following for a few months. Yeah, hey, we're gonna keep them going. Benji said, "Do you ever watch Dan the Bugman?" Occasionally. Funny enough, he actually reached out to me on Instagram. He followed my Preferred Pest Management Instagram, like our business page, and on Facebook as well. And I think he had his wife actually go leave us a positive review on Facebook, which was pretty cool. Because I think I commented on his video or something like that, and he like reached out to me. We didn't really like have like a full on conversation or anything, but I thought it was pretty cool that a dude with like 200,000 to 300,000 subscribers was, reaching out to other people like that. But yeah, I've probably seen a handful of his videos. Some of them I'm sure we've all seen, the ones that have the most views, but I'll tune in from time to time. I like how he is very, how do I describe it? Like in the field. Like he posts a lot of like the in the field content. Like I always tell people, I'm like, bro, if you're looking for like more in the field content, I would go watch his. If you're looking for more like the business ops, that's where probably like my content is a little more like for you. And I think, you watch the two of ours, not that it's like a plug for me or him or anything, but just, you watch both of them combined. Like it's another one too, by the way, is he just renamed his channel. It's like Pest Geek Podcast or something like that. He's been in the game for decades at this point, it sounds like. Another pest control business owner that he does sell some courses, it sounds like. But, outside of that, he posts a lot of good content. There's been a couple of them that I've taken some straight up gems out of, even for my business, that, I just didn't, you don't know until you access people that are at that level, essentially. He was the one that shifted my whole mindset on, what's your profit going to be once you start hiring people. Like I always thought that, I'll be able to hire people, keep marketing, keep doing this, keep doing that, and we'll profit like 40-50%. When in reality, once you start hiring people, it's actually more like, 5 to 30% at the most that you're bringing home. So, yeah, those are a couple other channels that are in our industry that you guys should definitely, tune into. I'm trying to be better about posting like some quote unquote in the field type stuff. Like I'm sure a lot of you guys already seen the video I uploaded earlier this past week about losing termite stations. I did that. I did one recently about like the mosquito chemicals we use. I'm probably actually getting ready to cross post my video from my business channel to this channel about the N2 care system. I was thinking about posting that over here for you guys too. Like I said, just here and there, whenever I can, I'm trying to be better. I just don't have like a bunch of equipment for that kind of stuff, really. Where, shoot, it seems like Dan's got a whole setup on his channel for like a whole production for out in the field. Last question from me before you go. How do you go about getting your logo made? I actually just use Canva. Shout out to the wife. She actually created like the main copy of our logo. As you all can tell, it's pretty quote unquote basic, like I call it just like a general modern logo essentially. But yeah, you can make one on Canva, very easily. And Canva's only like $19 a month for their pro version too. Matter of fact, we weren't even paying for the pro version when she made ours. So, and I think that version, I think they have a free version and then just a pro version. So I would toy around, especially since, like you said, Sesvo, you're like not in business yet. You're looking at starting up soon. You got time to play around with it. Watch a couple YouTube videos on how to make a logo using Canva. I would search that on YouTube. Might even be something that I could do at some point. Do like a little tutorial of like how to make a logo on Canva maybe. But that's where I would start. Again, if you're trying to keep costs low, because if you go to someone who's legit to build a logo for your brand, it's going to be upwards of $100 to $200. So just something to keep in mind. You can never stop learning. Exactly. Every day there's something new. I always look, let me see. I always look for the thirsty comments. There's always at least one. That's funny. Are you talking about on my channel or on Dan's? Because I know Dan, man, if you go over to Dan's channel, Dan the Bug Man, some of his comments are hilarious. I don't know what it is. He's got I ain't got nothing against him. I mean, I got my own beliefs, but I ain't got nothing against him. But boy, he's got a huge LGBT following, I noticed. And like you said, the comments, man, they crack me up sometimes. I get some too. I try to nip them in the butt pretty quickly though when I do. Not the like LGBT ones, just like you said, some crazy comments. Says, well, I hired someone on Fiverr, ended up using my local graphics company down the road to redesign. Yeah, Fiverr is super hit or miss. If you're gonna go with Fiverr, use one that oddly enough is more expensive. Like I said, for a legit one, it's usually gonna be like $50 to $200. And from what I've seen, $100 to $200 is more realistic. Google verification was first address and phone. They made me do the video. Yeah. Now that you've done the video, though, it sounds like you should be probably good to go here in the coming week or so, I would guess. That's what I was thinking of doing. Yes, sir. Oops, I missed one. I would like if you made content like him where you show us some of your stops. Super cool to see. Yeah, like I said, I would like to do that. It'll be easier, I feel like, once I hire that first full-time technician too, because like, shoot, if nothing else, if there's a slower day, I could ride along with him, and then, he could be like my little production guy, essentially. Which I don't know if that's what Dan's doing. I don't even know if he has an employee either yet, as a matter of fact. But yeah, no, I definitely plan on doing more of those, especially as like we just get more time, more equipment, an employee. As of now, I just do them when I can. I mean, like I said in this training the other night, that Trelona Station video that I did recently, I literally have a Steely mount on the back of my phone case. If you guys know the old little Steely mounts, like a magnetic mount thing. And what I did is I literally, put my phone in this case and I stuck it on, the metal bar for the fence, how you put up a wood fence. I just stuck it to the metal bar, and that was like how I was like recording that video, outside of when I was like holding it, showing you guys those termite stations. But yeah, I mean, it's a whole lot of make and do with what I got right now. I have to check that podcast out. I was always on the search for someone to listen to. Yeah, and we have a podcast as well. I'm trying to be better about posting on there. I haven't posted a podcast episode on there in a minute, but we do have some podcast exclusive content. I believe a link to the podcast is also in my LinkTree, which is in the description box. If you use Spotify specifically, if you use Apple Podcasts or anything like that, we are on there as well. We're on all the major podcasting platforms. If you just type in real life entrepreneurship, you should see it. It should show like my face, real life entrepreneurship with Griffin Thomas. We've got, I don't even know how many episodes on there now. A lot of it is cross posting the YouTube content on there, but there are audio exclusives on there as well. So, and like I said, I'm trying to, over time, whenever I do have time, get back to doing those quick little 5 to 15 minute ones as well. They're audio exclusives too. Love your field videos. Not a fan of Bug Boy. Sprays in cabinets that aren't emptied and throws loose bait and drop ceilings amongst other. Yeah. Yeah, everyone. Yeah, there's some things that I would not put on camera. I'll plead the fifth on that. Let's see. I thought about getting into care. Oh, into care. Yeah. Curious to see what your video. Yeah, like I said, it is already on my Preferred Pest Management YouTube channel, but here before long, I'm gonna end up like downloading it back to my laptop and then like cross posting it over onto this channel. That way everybody can see it, because I know not everyone's like tuning into that channel, rightfully so. It's just for business, more than anything. The question on the comments, definitely on Dan's people. Yeah. Yeah, I saw when he did his, which I was so jealous, man. He went to Pest World out there in Hawaii, and he also got married, had his honeymoon out there in Hawaii too, like I did. And he was at Pest World, and I saw the comments were hilarious. I saw some, they were like, "Oh no, he's straight," and I was just like, "Oh my god, man!" Some of these people, they just have no boundaries. But yeah, no, he's a cool dude overall, and I could learn some things from him, because I mean, hey, you don't take a channel from 0 to almost 300,000 subs like he did, almost overnight, really. I mean, every time I look up his channel, as a matter of fact, he, trying to find, let me see, go over here. I haven't looked up his channel in a couple weeks. Let me see, damn, about, what's he at now, like 285, 290? 286, I was pretty close. Yeah, he's at like 286,000 subscribers already. Why don't y'all go over there and start poaching subscribers for me? I'm just playing, but yeah, no, his channel's cool though. And the comments are straight comedy sometimes. Let's see. I read some of his business reviews, and someone called him handsome. That's funny. People are. Eric, how's it going? Are you wanting to hire a rookie? That's actually a great question. I've addressed it a couple times, throughout the years, but I actually prefer a technician that has virtually no experience. No experience is the best, in my opinion, because you aren't having to retrain. You're not, trying to kick bad habits. Not to mention, too, depending on where they came from, they, may have been being paid a certain way. A lot of the bigger companies will go with like a production pay model, where I will be doing hourly plus commission, kind of more incentive based. I want to incentivize. I would rather my employees, quote unquote, milk the clock, take their time, do a good service, look for potential spots to upsell, and then give them a kickback in terms of commission on that. Then, pay them production, where they're just going to be flying through stops and just no incentive to like take your time and do good work. So, there's various reasons, in my opinion, for it. I think the biggest thing above all is you're starting with a clean slate. You're starting with a technician that, knows nothing about the industry. You train them on how you like a service to be done, and you're just essentially cloning yourself at that point, which is what all the big companies do too. Like I even noticed at my time at Terminex, like they were very hesitant to hire outside technicians, like technicians from other companies. They always liked hiring younger guys or guys that had never been in the industry before. And, anytime they bring a guy on, you could hear it in the meetings over and over, like, well, that's not how we do it here. That's not how we do it here. And eventually, over time, either that technician would quit or they would get shoved out the door because they're not doing it the way that, I was working at Termite at the time. They weren't doing it the Terminix way, and it was too much, bumping. So I knew from pretty much day one that I was like, yeah, I'm probably gonna lean more towards the the clean slate route. Of course, there is more work you have to put in up front in terms of training. You're not just going to train them for 1 or 2 weeks and throw them out to the wild. You're going to want to nurture them. It's probably going to take a full 3 to 6 months to, fully train them. But like I said, you're working with a clean slate. It's not like you're beating out bad habits or anything like that. Do you do any exclusion for possum? Yeah, no, most definitely. Usually, of course, you want to catch and relocate them or catch and kill, depending on your state. First, before you seal up the home, of course, is most ideal. With possums, a lot of times you can also set up a one-way exit door, which will allow them to leave the attic or wherever they're getting in and not re-enter. With raccoons, I don't really like setting those up because raccoons are just so destructive that a lot of times they can just like yank off that one way. So for raccoons, we'll always set like a live trap first, and then once we go 1 to 3 weeks, 1 to 2 weeks that is, without hearing any activity from the customer's end, obviously we're not in there, so we don't know. We just keep in contact with the customer, and once they let us know that, hey, it's been a week or two since I've heard anything, then we go ahead and seal it up, and you're good to go. I actually got to go release a possum tomorrow morning. I got a text late this afternoon that one was caught. And that's the other thing, guys. When you set up those damn live traps, especially for those of you in the south where it's hot, put them in the damn shade. Put not just some bait, but like a little thing of water in there. Like, unless if you're going to go out there, emergency service call and relocate it or kill it, whatever the case may be, like at the drop of a dime, do things right. Don't let it like suffer out there in the heat. Where do you release your capture wildlife? Usually either a nature preserve, or now that I live further out in the country, there's a couple open fields where like obviously there's no houses for freaking hundreds of acres. So, release it like on the side of the road. But usually for the most part, since most of my customers that tend to get wildlife like that are within like 20 miles of a nature preserve, I'll just drive out to the nature preserve. Since I gotta go, 10 to 20 miles either way, I'll just go to a nature preserve because there's usually like a lake or a pond and, good spot. I mean, like I tell my wife all the time, she hates when I say it. I'm like, in all honesty, I see why most people just shoot them because, especially the little ones, they're not going to survive but a couple days out there by themselves most of the time. But, to each their own. Everyone's got their own preferences. And then, like I said, each state has their own laws and regulations around that too. So, yeah. But yeah, no, like I said, hopefully you guys did enjoy the stream this evening. If you did, do me a favor, smash that thumbs up button before we end the stream here in the next minute or so. And like I said, if you're not already subscribed, do us a favor, subscribe, hit the bell icon, all that good stuff. That way you won't miss any future live streams or videos. If you're just tuning in, what we went over today was, straight up Q's and A's about starting a pest control business, starting everything up, getting everything going. We went over a little bit of everything today: pricing, commercial work, ways to go get customers at no cost, like no cost to you, just straight up sweat equity, right? What else did we go over? We went over, like I said, a little bit of everything: wildlife and exclusion services. A little bit of everything. Everything dies of a violent death. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, we went over a little bit of everything today. So hopefully you guys did enjoy it. If you did, like I said, smash thumbs up before you head out. Subscribe if you didn't already. Check out the videos that will be suggested if you haven't seen those already. And then, of course, like I mentioned, all helpful links, our Facebook group, Discord group, all those are in the description box. Other helpful links are in there as well. Lastly, if you see the link in the description box that says like our Google ad course and you want that, It is, as of literally 12 o'clock this afternoon, 50% off for those of you that are into the whole, I'd rather have a course than search through all the content. Otherwise, I will see you guys in the next video. Take it easy out there and have a good week.